Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets, live with every breath, see my message start to spread, and I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens, life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means, always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it, and the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing, never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it, never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving, yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine, yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine, yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline, yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff, everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once, I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad, I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back, yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one.
Check. 1, 2. Sup, everybody? Hope you guys are doing great, man. Hope you're having a great fucking weekend. Dude, let me get that reverb out of here. We got about a month and 6 days until April. Count down the days. Me and my cat are counting down the days until April. Because he gets to go outside more and stay outside all night, usually. And I get to go outside more. The thing I'm looking forward to the most is just like on a spring day, or summer day. Like, I mean, you're just happier. Everything's happier. And you could go do things, Okay, I'm going to go walk on the south side of Pittsburgh or the north side of Pittsburgh, or I'm going to do a run downtown. I really enjoy those things, about nice weather. And I thoroughly I thoroughly don't enjoy it being freezing. But spring is coming, boys. Just count down the fucking days. We're going to make it. We'll all be alive when spring comes. We will make it. We will technically make it. Off the bat, let's talk about a couple things, man. I just want to talk about resilience with TRT real quick before we start, and as we get folks filtering into the room. Listen, man. One thing that, I don't think a lot of men understand about their testosterone levels is that, in the face of some really stressful problem, when your test is high, you kind of just fucking plow right through it. Your brain is resilient to the stress that might occur in some perplexing, confusing environment. As an example, yesterday and all day yesterday for 9 hours, just 9 straight fucking hours, I was dealing with some technological problem, with my studio and my office and whatever, and my gaming setup. And that technological problem took me 9 hours to figure out, and I still hadn't figured it out. And I'm like fucking tech wizard, bro, for 20 years now. I'm like, dude, how is this perplexing? The instructions were extremely vague, and there was YouTubers giving instructions on it, and they were super vague, and it just pissed me off further. I had to I got so mad and wanted to throw my shit that I had to do the opposite. I had to become really zen so that I didn't go crazy. Anyway, I recently just switched protocols, testosterone protocols, mostly for the purposes of going kind of back on a cycle. At this point, it's 150 milligrams every third day, which is roughly, I don't know what that ends up being, 320, 340 a week. I'm not sure. But effectively going back on cycle, I just got some really, really good bloods. And my HDL, because I've been doing some stuff. I've been doing stuff, mainly tacotrenols and a few other things. My HDL actually went up, which you don't see. My LDL down to 84. My ApoB down. It was slightly raised before. My bloods look fucking phenomenal, so I'm going to go back on a mild level cycle. Anyway, yesterday was the day that I injected 150 milligrams of testosterone intramuscularly. And I got to tell you, if I was on the trough, or if I was just doing once a week and I troughed at day 6 or day 7, in the presence of this really stressful situation yesterday, I would have handled it less resiliently. Yeah. But, 150 milligrams testosterone peaking in my system, peaking in my blood, affecting neurochemistry, affecting masculinity, resilience. I was just, for 9 fucking hours, I sat trying to figure this thing out. And then after, went to bed or in bed and researched it further and just thought about it, kind of thought about it all night. If I woke up in the middle of the night, I was thinking about it. And then I woke up and basically solved the problem this morning. It just needs a couple tweaks. That's technology for you. But had I not been, just injected a lot of testosterone and I had testosterone consistently high, I'm telling you, I'd be less fucking resilient. TRT is life, boys. TRT is resilience. Your testosterone levels make you as a man. So, when I'll get consults of people that are wanting to go on TRT, and I can just tell by, how I can tell by their demeanor that they need to be, that their testosterone needs to be higher. I can tell by, how sort of timid they are, or how there's a lack of assertiveness there. Brother, it makes you who you are. It makes you a fucking man. Good morning. Culver. Hope you guys are great. If you have questions, post them. Let's quick talk about HCG Reconstitution. Now, look, we think that it's you reconstitute HCG and then, hold on, let me move my camera up just a little bit. All right, I think that should be good. We think that you reconstitute HCG and then for like 45 days it's good. Fucking myth. If anybody ever wonders, people then develop all these theories on what's happening. Oh, the estrogen went too high because the HCG stopped affecting me the way that it was affecting me. Or maybe there's LH, chorionic gonadotropin receptor desensitization. None of that stuff is true. Your HCG denatures in 3 weeks. Sometimes 2 weeks, depending on the quality of it. If you're getting some crappy UGL HCG from a crappy UGL, which they do exist, I built Sourceless to put together a list of good UGLs. But if you're getting crappy UGL HCG, you might be looking at 2 weeks after reconstitution. I reconstitute HCG regardless after 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, which is why I don't spend $250 on 10,000 IU of Pregnal from Defy. That's an absolute highway robbery situation right there. So folks want to think about that. If you're running HCG and you need it, or you want it for cosmetic purposes, then reconstitute it every 3 weeks, boys. If it starts losing efficacy and you start developing theories on why, and you're like, what the fuck's going on here? Is it estrogen? Is it this? Is it that? It's probably the HCG denaturing. That's just the bottom line. If it'd be a great invention if we could make HCG or something very similar more stable. We just don't have that yet. We just don't have it. All right, boys. Let's get to questions. Where are we? Culver. Good morning, brothers. Dream big, brother. That small CDP dose and torque gave me depression and sadness after 3 weeks of 6 days and one off. No, that's not true. Does this mean I'm hypersensitive to choline? No, it doesn't mean that. First of all, the half-life of CDP choline is about 72 hours, and its absorption is absolute. But 3 weeks and 6 days, no, that's something else, brother. You got to get to the bottom of that, man. Choline won't do that. What it means is something's happening in your brain or your hormones, but they're both very related. Yeah, and that's kind of the bottom line. However, if people that are really sensitive to choline continuously take choline, then they can have depressive mood stuff that's consistent. And, in my nootropics days, I thought a lot about why that might be. You take exogenous choline and you probably upregulate choline esterase, which clears choline, right? Because the brain's going, oh, we've got too much choline. So we're going to clear it by upregulating clearance mechanisms. And that is likely the mechanism for acetylcholine-induced lethargy and depression and stuff, It could also be interacting with the other neurotransmitters via too high choline, but I think it's that first strategy. So I became that way toward kind of the latter end of using nootropics daily, just a bunch of different chemicals and using bulk powders, which I really don't do anymore. It's mostly just torque and modafinil if I need it. And I don't really even need to run modafinil these days. But that can happen if you're consistently taking something with choline in it. Simon, any estrogen control on this new cycle? Yeah, it will. I don't know at this point because the dose is 150 milligrams every third day. So what that ends up being is 350, 370 a week of testosterone enanthate. So, in that regard, my estrogen is probably going to be about 65, 70. Now, that's just right at the cutoff for me personally for when shit starts getting a little wacky. So the plan really is to not do anything until shit goes wacky. You know, I don't think you want to, generally you don't want to preemptively manage estrogen. If you go on higher doses of androgens, you're going to need higher doses of estradiol, not just because it goes high, it does, but you sort of need it to feel balanced. I guess that's the TDE ratio type of thing. I think also there's something to say about the DHT to estrogen ratio. Yeah, like if you tried rubbing 7 pumps of transscrotal cream on and you weren't taking HCG, you'd probably have ED within like a week. And that's because your DHT is far too high for your estrogen. Right. So, you know, I'm getting a good bit of DHT via bolus injections of testosterone enanthate at this point, being back on a mild cycle. Just started that this week, basically. And so estrogen is going to need to be somewhat high. You know, the point at which it starts messing with erections is when I'll, you know, probably dose a little bit of aromasin. That's basically it. So no preemptive strategy. It'll be an as needed type of situation. And I'm hoping, because I haven't really run cycles at lower doses, low level cycles, 300, 375 kind of thing, ever. So I'm hoping I don't really need to touch it. For context, my last cycle was 525 milligrams a week, or 560 was it? Somewhere around there. Yeah. That was 150 of enanthate every other day, not every third day. What nootropics do I recommend to learn new skills faster for combat sports? Always the racetams, so aniracetam or oxiracetam. Yep, either one of those would be fucking effective. Nootropicscourses.com has those, both of them. Get some bulk powder, get 00 capsules, you know, run between 500 to 1,000 milligrams of each. Run a small dose of choline bitartrate with it, and then dial in your dose from there. Yeah. The thing about racetams that I really enjoy, and I don't use them a whole lot either these days, is that whenever I would take them, like anything I needed to do cognitively, especially when writing all the guides and doing the video courses on livecortex.com, to write them all, I took racetams for every single one of them. I'm sure, you know. So yeah, it's just very fucking awesome. Heath, would freezing individual syringe of HCG make it last longer? Now, this is a good question, and I find that freezing HCG doesn't make it last longer. Don't know why, but it doesn't seem to make it last longer. Yeah. As I was saying before, boys, I think that HCG denatures in like 3 weeks. You know, I reconstitute every 3 weeks. Is it more money? Yeah. But, you know, get the source list and you can get 10 vials of HCG for like $100 or something. Like 10 vials of a 5,000 IU, 150. I forget what it is, but it's like fucking, dude, you'll spend more than that on one vial from Defy, rip off Defy in the context of HCG for 10,000 IU Pregnal. You spend far less to get 10 vials of 5,000 IU. That's why source list is crazy. And that's why you can reconstitute it every 3 weeks, basically. Stuart's thinking about hiring us for coaching. Can I ask what your success rate, strike rate for Pssd cure? Well, you have to think of it this way. Curing this condition, you're thinking about it slightly wrong. And then I'll answer your question about success rate. If a regular man that doesn't have Pssd is hypogonadal and has like libido and erection issues as a result, well, he should go on testosterone. Going on testosterone will likely, if the dose is right and he's got the right ancillaries, resolve all his symptoms. But if he goes off of testosterone, he's going to be right back to where he was because he'll go hypogonadal again, or he'll try to gain his natural function back, and he might get to 400 or 500 total tests, and that's probably just not going to do it. So is he cured then? No, he should stay on hormones. The same is true for Pssd, PFS people. Once we get a protocol that works, you should stay on it. You should stay on it. In that regard, so long as people comply, which, believe it or not, is harder than you'd think to do, or it seems harder. I'll have guys after 2 months become impatient with the process. We've changed the protocol merely twice, but they want to change it, 5 times, but don't recognize that whatever ester they're using takes 5 weeks to be steady state anyway. And hormone receptors, sex steroid receptors, neurotransmitters, they modify over a long period of time. the androgenization of a person, the optimization of the blood vessel and endothelial function in the penis, these things take time. So in other words, like all consultants, I have a problem with compliance. Basically people not doing what I need them to fucking do, which is a pain in everybody's ass. If that's not the case, which for a good degree of people, they follow through because they just want to get better, then yeah, there's resolution in everybody, right? Assuming that hormones are the issue and that Pssd or PFS is the issue. There are other people for whom what's driving their sexual dysfunction was not finasteride. They never took finasteride. They've got elevated prolactin from taking kratom. Yeah, and in which case, then we've got to focus on like tubular infundibular dopamine neurons and some other things, in addition to hormones. So, if you've got true Pssd, then yeah, it's fixable. But you've got to be willing. You have to have the budget to hire me. First of all, I mean, I'm not cheap, and that's because I'm with you for 3 or 6 months, and then I always extend them for free because I don't want to leave people, without being better. And if you're willing to communicate with me every third day, on your progress, really stay up on it. It's like a project for you too, and execute everything I say. You'll get better. I mean, sexual dysfunction is not permanent. It's not permanent unless you had your prostate removed, in which case you can fix that, but it's a lot harder. That's actually harder than, Pssd, PFS. But if you want to hire me, man, why don't you shoot me an email, Stuart, at ryan@livecortex.com, ryan@livecortex.com. Please send me an email. Which package you're looking to go with. And then let me get you a discount, man. If you really want to do it, let me get you a discount. Mitchell, switch from subq to deep IM after watching your content. I'm on week 2 and I feel completely different. Of course you do. Love this. No more gummy worm. Beautiful, bro. I love that. I appreciate you as well. Yeah, listen. Subq can work. Subq works for me, actually. I see it not work for many other people, so I've come to learn that it's just not the end-all be-all. I can make subq work, but honestly, I feel generally better on intramuscular injections. They clear my body faster, so I've got to inject a little more frequently. Like on this test enanthate cycle, it's like every third day, 150 milligrams. Believe it or not, my testosterone kind of low at the third day, lower. But listen, it's extravascular tissue, the subcutaneous space, which means your testosterone is not being taken up into blood vessels and circulated through the system to go and do its job. It eventually will, but your metabolism in the fat, the adipose tissue, this extravascular tissue, is driven by a variety of factors, and that all influences how you'll absorb your subq, test. If you're doing subq, enanthate, or prop, forget it. The PIP is going to be unmanageable. You'll have welts for most people anyway, unless it's a very low dose. And look, people are just going to need, this has just been my experience over the years, so that's why I've confidently done videos about this. Folks are just going to need boluses of testosterone, then a couple-day break, boluses of testosterone, couple-day break, of finding the dose that works for you, getting it to the steady state. And sometimes the frequency changes. Like if you're trying to build up to steady state and you're trying to run 150 every 5th day, well, you might be tired as fuck on day 3 until the enanthate reaches more steadier state, and then you can switch to every 5th day. So I'm glad this is just case in point for people. I'm not talking out of my behind here, man. It's just I see shit. I see real life stuff and coaching, and then I'm like, and then I think about it and do some research to try to figure out why, and then I'll see a pattern 20 times over the course of call it 4 months, and then that's it. It didn't take me very long working with people on TRT to recognize subq wasn't for everybody. Here's a guy, subq, having issues, went on intramuscular, feel fucking totally different. These esters are meant to be injected into your muscle. Just the bottom line. Does that mean subq doesn't work? Sure, so it works for some people. Works for some people. Not for everyone. Good morning, Michael. Dream big. When I ran Masteron, I wasn't running it long enough to notice. Yeah, so no, I didn't notice anything. I might have ran it like a handful of times over the course of my last cycle. And frankly, I didn't really like it. Like it what I think is happening with AIs and Masteron for some individuals is that, you inhibit aromatase. You still might have a bunch of serum, like total estrogen, total estradiol, but your free estradiol via no aromatase expression or, somewhat inhibited aromatase expression goes down a bit, and that fucks with stuff. So Masteron, I can't take a lot of it. I'll go back to messing with it perhaps on this mild cycle that I just jumped on of about 370 a week or so. And we'll go from there. But I don't remember any hair shedding because it wasn't enough time. All right, we got a question about dissolving aromasin in alcohol to get 2.5 milligrams every other day. Do you reckon just remixing? All right. Remixing the solution each time before taking a dose. I recommend shaking the solution each time before you take a dose. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Shake the solution. That's the way that you do that. Michael, Cortex coming back. Cortex, Cortex has been out. I've talked about that on the live streams, but I don't expect you to watch every live stream. So we discontinued Cortex. It was our best performing product for a while, and then I built Torque based on the stack that I was taking at the time, which was this, and everybody likes it, with the exception. It's like, there's 10% of people that respond poorly to it or get some sort of side effect, but everybody else really likes it. And it's fucking noticeable, dude. Take it with like a shot of espresso and forget it. I mean, you have the best energy ever. So it's that. And listen, every time, just to give you an idea on the back end of what's happening with our company, it's like every time that we've got to purchase new product, we have a product manufacturing lab in New York. Cortex Labs has a product manufacturing lab in New York that makes, puts our formula into the capsule, puts our label into the bottle and all of our things that we selected. And it costs like $30,000 each time, So it's bad enough that when I re-up on Torque, I'm spending 30 grand. It's just, in the business account, $30,000. Here you go. That I don't like spending 30 grand. So having to spend $60K every, 4 months or something was just getting a little annoying. So we ditched that, and I'm a highly sought out coach. So that is really, at this point, it has surpassed the revenue of what Cortex was doing, just to give you a look at the business. Josh, what does PFS recovery look like in terms of time frame? 6 months to a year is what it looks like, possibly more than that. Yeah, it looks like the biggest influencer of, we'll call it a lack of progress, is errors in attribution of what is causing what, and errors in your theory on what has gone wrong or going wrong. Therefore, errors in what you choose to use to treat yourself. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. That's what prolongs recovery. Because someone will, be in the forums and, think that they need to take inositol or something. Like, forget the supplements. Stay off of Amazon. You need hormones. Now, in the case that you've got, you have to determine a couple things. Do you need high levels of androgens, excessively superphysiologic above 2,000 total tests and 500 to 1,000 free test with managed estradiol and functional testicles? Or do you need same amount of test, functional testicles, but high estradiol? Because some of these people need high estrogen too. Then the question becomes, is the estrogen from your test going up enough to execute, specifically through the estrogen receptor beta isoform, vascular repair in your penis? If not, you'll have to take exogenous estradiol. Does your body metabolize testosterone in a way which evens out the metabolites, which is ideal for sexual function? If it doesn't, you'll have to manipulate that with metabolites, whether that's with DHT or whether that's with estradiol. So in determining all those things, that alone takes time, because you have to experiment with protocols to determine, okay, or, do you need more estrogen? Do you need lower estrogen? Do you have polymorphisms in the aromatase enzyme, which makes you aromatize less? There's all manner of complexities, So while it's maybe 15% art, it's fucking 85% science to get better. So 6 months to a year, considering you have the right guidance and you know what to do. You know how long to stay on what protocols. There's all these nuances that no one ever, it's like, None of it's published anywhere. I've got it like in my head and in notes and looking through the successes of PFS people through coaching over the years, but no, no one else does this. And frankly, I don't, maybe I will toot my own horn. I hear about the things that other PFS people are suggesting or giving people, and they all come to me and they're like, it made me worse. Like dihydroboldenone. Why the fuck would you want to just crush estrogen? If a guy has post-finasteride syndrome. I understand that you over-aromatize, usually, because you're under-reducing to DHT. Doesn't mean you crush estrogen. You can't forget that hormones need to be in balance regardless. Anyway, that was a tangent, man. That's what you're looking at, 6 months to a year, possibly more. But consistency with the right protocols and the right guidance, and it might be shorter. Go get it. FSH with HCG for maintaining fertility. HCG should do it alone, but FSH would help, recombinant FSH. Josh, did you... Yeah, so I hope that basically answers your question. As long as people are... And it's sort of similar to the Pssd question. The biggest problem I have is compliance, I don't have a 100% success rate. I wish I did. I mean, I've got a percentage of people that just after 2 months, they give up. Or they read somewhere on Reddit, God forbid, or whatever forum, that they need to take fucking sodium valproate. It's a dangerous fucking drug because Ryan Russo said it's ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. Jared, thanks for the super chat, brother. Really appreciate that, man. Super chats make the world go round. Super chats make the world go round, Jared. They do, Jared. Thanks, buddy. Super chats make the world go round, Jared. All right. Will I ever personally try no test plus exogenous estradiol? Maybe. Right now, the focus is my bloods look really good, brother. My HDL went up. I'm so happy to see that. ApoB went down and back into range. LDL is like 84, dude. It's so fucking good right now. So I'm back on cycle, bro. This week made that decision. It's a low level cycle of 370, call it. Test anything a week. But in that regard, I am not taking tests. Yeah. I'm already stronger in the gym. My physique's already starting to fill out again. And I'm looking forward to putting on yet more mass that when I go back to TRT again or cruise, that I can maintain. I'm really happy about it. Really happy about it. Got to watch that hematocrit because it's a long ester. I am running Naringen. So we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the bloods and go from there. But after this, when I go back to TRT and I don't have any experiments lined up that I'm curious about, then maybe. And it will be what I've seen work, which is pretty high dose primobolan and estradiol valerate. Yeah. Nope, not on prop at the moment. Yeah, I was on 3 pumps of cream for the last 3 months or something. Now I'm back on cycle. Jordan, G-Unit, man. By the way, G-Unit, like, what's the deal with G-Unit, bro? Because G-Unit is, like, one of the best fucking rap groups out there, bro. Their album, G-Unit, Brethris. Not Terminate on Sight, but the first one with My Buddy and all those other fucking great songs. Greatest, like, gangster rap album ever. They don't make them like that anymore. They don't make them like G-Unit anymore, bro, or Mobb Deep. Thank you for the super chat, though, bro. 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks into test prop 20 a day. Feeling great, but yet to do labs. Cypionate was 160 a week. Split, taking 80 milligrams Monday and Friday. So 160 total, right? Got it. That took you above 1,500. What ranges do you consider sustainable? Depends on what you're trying to target and how crafty you are at managing your lipids and stuff. But like, I think 2,000, if you wanted to run like high levels of testosterone consistently, I think 2,000, 2,500, you could get away with that. Yeah. And you could do that healthfully for the next 60 years. I really do believe that. I don't think you're going to, create LVH or any of that stuff. We've got echoes of bodybuilders on that have 20,000 nanograms per deciliter total test. They have their echocardiograms. Chase Irons would be a great example. No thickening of the ventricle. So 2,000 to 2,500 is what I would say would be sustainable, assuming that you manage your health. You know, your blood pressure doesn't go too high. You take things to manage hematocrit if it goes too high, or you exercise enough so that, it stays low enough, or drink a lot of water. Your lipids don't go out of range. You don't want that, man. I see blood work from people that come to me on regular TRT, and their fucking LDL's like 150, their HDL's like 38, and they're like, I've been like, you don't want that. Do something about that shit. But test prop at 20 milligrams, you might peak at 1500, 1800, but you're going to trough down to 1200 or lower by the next morning for sure. Yeah. And 20 milligrams usually isn't enough to put you into, I don't know, a state where you've got to be concerned about your health. Believe me, if I wasn't running cycles and doing experiments and whatever, I'd run 20 milligrams of test prop. It actually isn't good enough for me. It's not enough. I feel a little tired on that generally. I need 40, 45, better yet, 50 milligrams prop a day, and then everything's good. A little bit of acne though. Brother, thanks for the super chat though, man. I appreciate it. Big Tony on 160 milligrams test anathate split every third day. So you're doing 80 every third day. That's a great dose. If you can tolerate that, great. Want to experiment with higher doses? What percentage of dose to increase? If you're doing 80 every third day, move to 100 every third day. That's what I would do if I were you. So you're basically moving up 40 milligrams a week, if I'm doing that correctly. Or that's what you're doing. I would do that first and give it 4 weeks, because anathate, it builds up sooner, but you're still going to take some time to see where you're at. That's what I would do if I were you. For time's sake, you could go to 90 every third day, but just fuck it. Go to 100 milligrams every third day. Then you're technically at, it's if every third day, you might be injecting 3 times a week. So you're somewhere around 300. You've got to do the math or ask ChatGPT that. It's always difficult to look at it on a 7-day plane. So, I don't know. But that's what I would suggest you do. That's all things considered, that's not a high dose, If I'm running TRT with a long ester, I need about that, 100 every third day. Yeah, to feel optimal. And to not be super tired and after the gym on day 3, 150 every third day is what I'm on right now, going back on cycle. And I'm even a little tired on day 3 because it's still building up, but I just let that go and kind of hang out. Rashik says subq didn't work for me. Went into the muscle and probably things are better. Absolutely. Master RC with a $10 super chat on. We've got a question now on nootropics. Nootropics. Back to nootropics, brother. Hey Ryan, is Adrafinil similar to Modafinil? Thank you in advance. Yeah, Adrafinil is basically going to convert to Modafinil after you metabolize it internally. Now you'll lose some of the, the dose conversion isn't linear, meaning like if you dose 100 milligrams of Adrafinil, you're not going to ultimately yield 100 milligrams of Modafinil or the same effect. You'll yield a lot less. So generally speaking, you got to take lowest dose 100 milligrams to highest dose 400 milligrams of Adrafinil to get enough Modafinil. But if you respond well to it and it doesn't modify your liver enzymes, which it shouldn't, there's a myth out there that Adrafinil is liver toxic. No one ever proved that. Someone said it, and then a bunch of people repeated it. My liver enzymes never moved on that stuff. Then you're good to go. Dream big. Reasons why Modafinil makes me feel awesome. Well, Modafinil is a really interesting drug, right? Number one, like you have these neurons called orexin neurons. They're like neuropeptides, and Modafinil influences them in a way which prevents you from noticing tiredness. Like you just, whether you slept well or not, maybe you were up late and that influences how you feel today or whatever. Like any degree of tiredness that your brain might perceive and therefore you would notice, and you'd be at 2 p.m. just like, feeling a little fucking tired. Like Modafinil erases that from your brain. Via like targeting the orexin neuropeptide system. It's OREXIN. So that's why, at the same time, it's a mild dopamine reuptake inhibitor. So you've got some usable dopamine to deal with. And you have partial inhibition of GABA, partial inhibition of GABA. So in that regard, you have more acetylcholine and more dopamine and probably more glutamate as well. So you just feel good. That's the answer, bro. Hope that sufficiently answers your question, brother. Go get it. Also, best places to become informed, like Dave Lee's school program, mentorship programs. I think Dave Lee knows his shit, but he has a very like particular style of TRT, like a particular style of dialing people in. I think those guys are much more biased on cream, whereas cream doesn't work for everybody, no matter what the dose is. So you have to find what ultimately aligns with you, and like certain YouTubers will have biases that align with you. Like my bias is I really don't love subq. I'd rather have people inject intramuscularly. I tend to bias on the higher end of TRT instead of going to lower doses. But I know that people tolerate lower doses fine, and that might work better for them. So I recognize there's life outside of my biases. I'd say go to Vigorous Steve's channel also, and just watch a lot of his older videos, a lot on TRT, and find the ones that are specifically about TRT, and watch Vigorous Steve's live streams, which happen on Saturday at like noon Eastern time or 1 Eastern time. Yeah. I don't think there are any mentorships and programs, etc., that are good. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, not many people are doing that. Dave Lee is like the only one that we really know of that has a program, kind of a thing you can sign up for. It's pretty cheap. And then, you kind of go through what is probably just an organized learning kind of thing. So, P5P, 50 milligrams a day gives me anxiety on the third day. Take it every other day. Don't take it every day. June is a funny spin on names. Tony Rice is my favorite guitar player, and his band was the Tony Rice Unit. Everyone knows G-Unit slams. My last name starts with a G. I understand. Okay. I love that, bro. That's how it came to be. Cool, bro. Jordan Gio also says, also on the lab side, my general health markers are always perfect. And you're running, I think it was you that's running 20 milligrams of prop. Stay there. Stay there, brother. Fucking stay there, dude. If you can tolerate that, like, if you can tolerate what in my opinion is a pretty low dose of prop and everything feels good, fucking stay there, man. It means you're not clearing it like I would clear it. I clear that shit quickly. Stay there, bro. Stay right where you are. Biggest lesson for TRT, or I don't know, I guess one of the most important things people can remember is if something's not broke, don't fix it. If you're dialed in, don't fucking touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Which supplement can help convert more testosterone to DHT? You're probably looking at glycine. There's some literature on that, or oxytocin. F Money. Yeah, you called us, bro. We're live. Documented recovery from Pssd with TRT, HCG, and a vegan diet. So far, very little luck. Yeah, vegan diet's not helping you, bro. Cialis is the only thing that's working, but maybe I can feel the HCG working. Yeah, we've talked about this before, but you probably haven't heard it. You're likely going to need, 2,000 total tests, 500, 700, 1,000 free tests. You might need to take exogenous estradiol with it. You've got to figure out if you need less aromatization, meaning control with aromasin or arimidex, or more aromatization, which you're not going to be able to do with TAS, because then the test in DHT is going to continue scaling up, and those aromatase enzymes can't keep up, at which time you're going to have to take exogenous estrogen. So can't consult you on air here. We have paid work for that, but that's kind of what you're looking at. You're not going to feel anything on TRT doses, usually, with people that have PFS. It's just not going to work. Mickey Manning, would you get more at a 400 milligrams test per week, or 250 tests plus 10 milligrams a day of anabolism? For what? Anabolism? I think you'd probably get more anabolism out of 250 and 10 milligrams a day of anavar. Yeah, I'm almost positive you would. Yep. Yeah. I mean, testosterone's fucking anabolic, bro. It's great. It's great for building a physique, dude. You know, it's really great. I ran my first cycle, whatever that was, summer of last year. And, you know, I put on mass that stayed, that stayed. As long as I was on high enough dosage tests and I still ate well and trained, it stayed. Back on a very mild cycle now at 370 a week, and I'm looking forward to it. But I also did run for, 14 days, 12 milligrams Anavar a day on top of just TRT. And holy fuck. I mean, yeah, that helped me build a little mass, but it was mostly just the pumps were ridiculous in the gym. I looked after like one set, like just gigantic. It was fucking wild. It's wild. That drug is wild, dude. It's just like constant anabolism that never falters or degrades. It's just fucking anabolic, dude. It's such a great feeling. But I'd say 250 and 10 is probably make you more anabolic. Yeah. F Money tried 6 weeks on 200 milligrams cypionate. A few weeks split twice a week. Last few weeks just 150 a week. Yeah. If you have Pssd, brother, you're going to need to push doses much higher than that. And you need to determine if estrogen needs to be lower or if it needs to be higher, and if you need to take exogenous estradiol. Just one of those things. For those guys that have this weird sexual dysfunction induced by these drugs, you use estradiol kind of as a reparative agent, and sometimes you can't make enough of it via your testosterone. And the ratios get skewed where it's too much DHT, not enough estradiol kind of thing. So these people, more and more I'm having to suggest these people use estradiol. We're having a lot of fucking success with it, interestingly. Johnny Cook, would I recommend 9-MeBC or bromontane first? I think you should try bromontane by itself and see how it affects you, and then decide what to do from there. Bromontane's not much of a reparative compound. It's much more of an acutely effective compound, whereas 9-MeBC, if you have dopamine problems, should fix it. But judging by my history and people's errors in attribution on what they think is wrong, you probably don't have a dopamine problem. If you had a dopamine problem, you would develop a prolactinoma. People that think they have dopamine problems, you develop hyperprolactinemia or prolactinoma, because dopamine inhibits prolactin from these cells called lactotropes in your pituitary gland. Those of you that read some shit on the internet and fucking think you have low dopamine, whatever the fuck that means, if you had low dopamine, your prolactin would be high. Go run prolactin. If it's high, well then yeah, you're not firing dopamine the way you should, but it's likely not a dopaminergic problem. Whatever issue you think you have, I bet you could fix by going on hormones. I bet you would, brother. I bet you would, brethren. You got to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that dopamine is your issue. You can think it. You got to prove it. Got to prove it, brother. Look at your prolactin. If dopamine was low, your prolactin would be high. Dopamine is in the medical literature known as prolactin inhibiting hormone, PIH. That's what dopamine is referred to as. So if you've got low dopamine as you suspect, your prolactin would be high. Dopamine's the only thing that controls prolactin. The only thing that controls it, bro. Otherwise, you'll have the prolactin of a pregnant female, which you don't want. Corey Andrew, when you mention people not aromatizing enough to estrogen, can use HCG instead of exogenous estradiol. Sometimes not. And no, it doesn't seem practical to do it. What's practical is doing what fucking works. That's what's practical. What's practical is doing what will work. And sometimes HCG will help, but sometimes not. Sometimes not. Yeah. HCG will tell the Leydig cells to produce estradiol independent of testosterone's conversion to estrogen. So there is a separate individual mechanism by which HCG is estrogenic. But there's a cap on that. As an example, on 210 a week of subq test, this was like years back, with no HCG, my estrogen was 35. That shows you how much I aromatize. Not a whole lot. Then I added HCG at 250 IU every day and aromatized to 55. But then it stopped. It only went up to 55 picograms per milliliter on 210 a test and fucking 250 IU of HCG a day. So it's just a case where there's a cap on the aromatization. So, if you need more estrogen, you're going to have to just administer it. Yeah. Yeah. As I was saying in the beginning, boys, people have to remember about testosterone is that it fucking makes you resilient. I had this big tech problem in the studio here that took me 9 hours to not even fix, just to get into learning every facet of this new technology. And I'm fucking very frustrated. Very frustrated. I took many breaks where I just kind of stepped out of the office, walked outside, and was like, fuck my life. And then, but very resilient. I had just injected 150 milligrams of test yesterday morning. So had I not done that, had I been on day 3, somewhat troughing or whatever of my protocol at the moment, I would feel less resilient. Test makes you resilient, right? It makes you assertive. It makes you have an aggressive demeanor toward getting what you want and getting shit done in life. You know, it pains me a bit when I talk to individuals who lack that drive thing. I know their testosterone looks like shit. I know it right away when I'm around a guy. I know it right away. And conversely, I also know if I'm around a dude who's doing pretty good in that department, man, whether natty or not. You know, there's just a silent confidence about them. But you can push through stressful situations with high test. Never forget it. Never forget that. Because that's life. Life is stressful, man. Your money problems, your this, your that, your family, your girl, your whatever. Life is fucking stressful, dude. It never stops either. You got to be your best self to deal with it, boys. Got to be your best self. Chocolate starfish. What are some potential physiological causes for difficulty achieving climax during sex? Low DHT, high estradiol. You're not going to like this answer because it's a lot of things. Number 1, too high DHT, not enough estradiol. Number 2, too high estradiol for your body. Number 3, too low estradiol for your body. This is where you're not going to like this. Number 4, not enough HCG or no HCG, like meaning atrophied testicles. And then number 5, hypothyroidism. Yeah, those are the things. Any other ways for treating Pssd other than hormones? No. And stop looking for other ways. You're going to be like the guys in the forums that are there 10 years later, toxic as fuck, thinking it's still neurotransmitters and thinking they're smarter than everybody because they just didn't want to use what we all know works, which is hormones. My calorie intake. Okay, you weigh 170 pounds. That's about where I'm at right now. 180 last check. 5'10", 180. And can maintain 2,500 calories more without gaining. Okay, I'm lean but hoping to look a little more shredded with prop. Yeah, prop will, because you'll just hold less water. Calorie intake for me, quite honestly, it's about 2,000 calories a day. Yeah, it's about 2,000 calories a day. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but when I was tracking it on MyFitnessPal, that's kind of where I stayed maintenance. And I'm usually maintenance, and then I'll go over for 2-3 days, and I'll get fat. I'll start noticing getting fucking fat and looking less lean and looking like the Stay Puff, but then I just drop it back down. Just drop it back down, bro. Come back down to reality. Dream Big says, when I'm Masteron, when I see a hot chick's butt, I just can't get it off my mind. I just want to bite right into it. Of course, that's what we do. That's what we want to do. We want to slap it. We want to do all kinds of good shit. But this is a case where Masteron's not tanking your estrogen too much. It just puts you in the zone. I am somewhat one of these people, but I have clients that they can't touch Masteron, dude. Even at low doses, just libido goes away. It goes away. So that's a beautiful thing, bro. It must mean you aromatize probably a lot, I would assume. More than the average guy, perhaps, or you're on high doses of test, you're aromatizing a lot. Yeah, that might be the case, brother. Yeah, I haven't talked about Uridine in a while. Don't have a reason to. It's I'm not huge into nootropics anymore. I take two things. This stuff here, which is fucking incredible, and Modafinil. Modafinil's like 4 times a month, and then Torque every other day, depending. Sometimes I'll take a week off of everything. Crashed SHBG. DHT is sky high and estrogen was 11. Yeah, you've got EQ. Yeah, definitely drop that. The HCG will help, but you might want to take a little bit of thyroid hormone for about a month, 2 months. Find a dose that doesn't make you lose sleep because you're too fucking wound up. And taking some exogenous estrogen and I mean, the test is going to keep your SHBG low if you're still on test. If you can manage it with a non-aromatizable androgen that doesn't like crush SHBG, then do that with exogenous estradiol and your SHBG will go up. It will go up. Yeah, boys. Boys. Back to HCG while we wait for some more questions. Yeah, guys, it's like 3 weeks is the reconstitution period. Like the preservation of the HCG. I'm telling you, man, after 3 weeks, it's just not as good. It's just not the same. You got to reconstitute, more vials. Go to livecortex.com, get the source list. You'll have access to HCG, 10 vials of 5,000 IU at a time for cheaper than you would pay for one vial of 10,000 IU at your clinic. How fucking crazy is that? Then you can reconstitute it every 3 weeks and not have to worry about the money. That's the whole point. That's the whole hack, brother. But you got people with all these theories. Like, I have a client recently. He's like, oh, I got receptor fatigue from HCG. Yeah, that is in the literature, but you got to be blasting HCG to do that. The problem was the shit denatured. HCG denatures quicker than we think. Okay, we need a more stable gonadotropin replacement. We really need it. Really need it. Yeah, so this guy over aromatizes, and that's why Masteron does you well, because you're on 40 estradiol at 100 a week. Yeah, 100 a week, I'd be at fucking 18 estradiol. That's why you like Masteron. And that's beautiful. This is where it's a perfect case, like where people have to determine, do they aromatize a little more, or normally, I wouldn't call that normal. It's probably a little much. Or are they like me and they don't aromatize all that much, but just enough? Or are they like Nelson Virgil from Excel Male, who doesn't aromatize much at all and probably needs to use estrogen. I don't know if he's actually using estrogen, but he's talked about that a lot. There are some people like him and you see it every now and then. Well, guys would be on 250, 300 a test and their estrogen is like 20. What? That, that's a polymorphism or some other problem in the aromatase enzyme. Has to be, bro. I don't know what the fuck else that could be, man. I don't know what that could be, man. Spring and summer is coming soon to a neighborhood near you where you can go outside. Just think of it. You can leave your house. Wouldn't that be great? And you can walk outside. You can go to the park with your dog. You can go to the store in your shorts. Just can't fucking wait for it to be like, tolerable, bro. Tolerable. Where do I do intramuscular injections? Right in my junk, actually. No, I do them in the glute. Left side, right side. Straight glute, not ventral glute. I will do quads if it's a long ester, not with prop, because if any of that shit leaks out, you're going to have PIP like a motherfucker. And you could do it delt. I honestly don't like injecting my delts either because they leave noticeable things. I just inject the glutes is where I do it. Yep. No scar tissue as of yet that I can really tell, I think there was a point at which I was running 70 a prop every day in the glute and that started to hurt and that would have developed scar tissue. But I also got some very thin 1.5 inch needles. I forget the gauge, but they're pretty high, 27 or something. Fucking crazy. You can find them on Amazon. And there, it's like I'm not really causing, I don't think I can even cause scar tissue doing that. Brother. Dar Fitness, good morning. Full body workouts versus splits? Like, if you're going to go to the gym and you're trying to build your physique, you don't do a full body workout. If that's what you're asking. I mean, I hope that's a good way to answer this. Yeah. You're trying to build a physique, you go to the gym, and on Monday, you work biceps. Yep. You do bicep curls sitting down on one of the benches. And then maybe take the elongated bicep curl thing. And then, you do a couple sets of that. Yeah. You lift somewhat lighter, but still heavy enough, but not heavy enough to where you can't properly do curls. Tax the fucking muscle till failure on each set. Give it enough break in between and go back. Tuesday, you do chest. Yeah. You get on the bench and you do, whatever you can stand of chest. Go heavy first and then end it off with some light, high rep shit. If you want to continue, if you still have some energy after that, go to the chest press machine and fucking do some sets of that. Wednesday, you come and you do shoulders, or take a day off, and the Thursday you come and you do shoulders. You do shoulder flies, or these things where you arch back and you working the shoulder, just doing that with a dumbbell. Fucking what's that guy's name? I forget the dude's name. Influencer died a while ago. He actually turned me on to that exercise. Joe Lindner turned me on to that exercise. Next day you go, what didn't we work? I don't know what we didn't work. We go back to wherever you started or take a break or whatever. Yeah, that's how you build a physique. That's where everything is symmetrical. Like I have focused on my body being symmetrical. My shoulders are pretty symmetrical, whereas I have a pretty symmetrically big chest at this point, big enough. It's all looks even because I'm not doing full body workouts for what? That's not how you target muscle groups. You have to go and target the muscle groups. That's what you've got to do. That's what you got to do, brother. Because this isn't CrossFit, brother. This ain't no CrossFitting. We ain't doing no CrossFitting over here. Yeah. We go to the gym and we hit individual muscle groups. Ain't doing no CrossFit. I've been seeing some girls doing some CrossFit. They're doing 3 sets here, 2 sets there, 5 sets over there. Fucking run around the goddamn gym. Aren't you thirsty? Individual stuff, bro. Chip Douglas. Jordan G Unit test prop injections. I was using a 0.5 inch 0.5 inch 27 gauge and hitting the ventral glute. I never get PIP. Yeah, as long as it's getting into the muscle, you're good. Yeah, some people can't do. You got to be pretty lean. I don't really love shallow intramuscular, but if it's working, don't listen to me. Just do what works for you. Let the bruising heal. I don't think this is a problem, really. Again, if it's not really broke, don't fix it. And especially if there's good stuff going on, don't change it. Right. Yeah. I guess whether you do full body workouts versus like splits depends on your goals. Yeah. The whole full body workout thing, like if I don't need to target a muscle group because I've really hit them hard over the last 2 weeks and kind of need to deload, then I'll do a little bit of full body. Like I'll just do a couple sets of biceps. I'll get on the chest machine and do a little bit there. But generally speaking, and I'm not saying this is you, generally speaking, when you see people switching from thing to thing to thing, they just don't know what the fuck they're doing. They'll never get a good physique. They're just there to work out. They're just there to move. They're not bodybuilding or anything like that. DHEA can convert both to DHT and estradiol. Converts to both via backdoor pathways. It's 17-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, I think. And then aromatase. DHT converts to some other, or DHEA converts to some other things, and then it gets aromatized. Yeah, but it converts to both, basically. Yeah. Greg, have I ever considered fitness expos? Nope. Yeah, that's more for bodybuilders. My style of content is it's just sort of a more surgical TRT type content, while overlapping with small cycles, but largely centered around sexual function. So, the guys that go there, like Vigorous Steve invited me to, the Mr. Olympia thing in Vegas, and I didn't go first because I had some shit going on that I had to tend to, but also I don't think I'm not a bodybuilder. You know what I mean? I'm not a bodybuilder. Yeah, I'm a exogenous hormone based, kind of YouTuber, but and consultant on this, but I'm not a bodybuilder, so I don't think I would go. Tell you what, though, I enjoy following some of the really the really determined motherfuckers and watching their progress. Like Sam Sulek just won like some amateur one. I've been following Sam Sulek for a while. I'm sure you guys know Sam Sulek. And just watching him from years ago, like starting to put content out, drive around the fucking Toyota, building up to however many millions of fucking views and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subs at this point. And that guy, he deserved it. He won a contest. He didn't win it because he's a fucking popular YouTuber. He looked better than those other competitors. He fucking looked better. He looked better, dude. Because that kid is on his shit, man. You can tell. He's a highly intelligent human being, man. So I appreciate watching those types of guys, do their thing relative to bodybuilding. But it's not an environment in which I would want to put myself. Yeah. Big Tony's going to be 57 this summer on TRT, never done a cycle. 6 foot, 208 pounds. Would be a good cycle. To get a little saucier, I'd say starter cycle like 300 to 350 milligrams a week. Yep. Yeah, that's what I would suggest. Run a long ester like enanthate, not cypionate. Probably going to give you side effects. Enanthate will be a little more forgiving. Watch your hematocrit and your lipids, and you should be good. Yep. Run it for 4 months. Monitor your bloods at month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, just to see where they're trending, where HDL, LDL are trending. Look at apolipoprotein B before and after so you can see if it raised during the cycle. You don't want it to go up all that high. And have at it. Have at it. Once you do that, if you've never gone above TRT and you successfully complete a cycle of 350 milligrams a week, we'll then cycle off, go back down to TRT, make sure your bloods are good. If they're not, get them back down to where they need to be, and then consider a cycle of about 0.5 gram a week. Yeah. I had to learn kind of the hard way in moving up from TRT to 0.5 gram a week, in that I got test flu. What the fuck else happened? It's just a couple things. I was having paresthesias, and that's probably thickening of the blood. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I had to dial back and then slowly move back up. I even had to change esters to prop for a little bit at 490 and then go back up to 560 of enanthate, and I was good. So I don't do what I did, because the test flu felt pretty shitty. Yeah, just go to 350 is what I would suggest, bro. What are my thoughts on low doses of Proviron on top of 165? This will work perfectly if you aromatize a little much, you know what I mean? And you just need to lower the estrogen a bit to get it into your sweet spot, and then erections and libido work good. Yeah, that'll work good. 12.5 milligrams a day, maybe 12.5 in the morning, 12.5 in the evening. You'll certainly feel fucking a lot more manly. God damn it. Besides test, Proviron, I mean, actually, I felt this on Prima Ballin as well, but Proviron is like, dude, you just feel like a god king. It's crazy. So that shit will make you feel that way. Yeah, Sam is like, just ridiculous, bro. Guy blew up. But he's, as a smart person, I like to think of myself as a smart person. I like watching smart people, and he is a smart guy, and I really appreciate that. Also, if someone had low libido their whole life, while normal looking labs, would you expect this low libido would also continue even with TRT? You'd probably have to high dose TRT and figure out, but here's the thing. You're making an error here, because normal looking labs, what's that mean? You think that it means everything's fine, normal. That's what you think it means, because that's what the medical establishment will tell you it means. But you may have never had, unless you were, since you were 16 or whatever, 18, good labs that were good for your body. Yeah. It's like maybe you need to be at 1,500 total test. We had men that had that testosterone in the 50s and before. We still had men that have that testosterone, but everything's disrupting it these days, so people have less of it. But normal, don't make the error in thinking that normal is optimal, is what I should say. Normal is optimal. You could be at 312 nanograms per deciliter. You're 12 nanograms per deciliter away from hypogonadal. Doc would say you're normal because you're just slightly above the bottom end of the reference range. You're fucking hypo at that point, bro. You're hypo. So get it up. Find where you need to be. Who wants normal? You don't want normal. Normal, you're not going to have the anabolism. You're not going to have the strength, the confidence, the assertive demeanor. You're not going to be resilient. Forget that. Normal. It's like walking around like just a weaker version of what you could be. Fuck that. Get it up there, brother. Get it up there. All right, boys, I'm going to end the stream. Questions are getting a little scant. Thank you for being here. Got 20% off discounts on everything right now, so that includes Source List. It includes the Torque Stack. It also includes coaching. All right? If you want to book with me on coaching, use the coupon in the description of this video. I'm telling you guys this and you guys only that code applies to coaching, whether 3 months, 6 months, a year, or a 1 month. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great fucking week. I'll be doing content coming Monday, so look forward to that. Monday, probably Wednesday or Thursday, and then again back on Saturday for a live stream. We're going to make it through the rest of the winter, boys. For those of you in cold climates, we're going to get there. We'll all still be alive come, April 20th. But April 1st, let's just make it to there, because then it's going to rain for a little, but it will be warmer. I mean, the high in Pittsburgh at least is like 55 to 60. The low's like 40. It's better weather, man. We're right there. All right. Let's make it. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching the stream, and I'll chat with you soon. See you later. See ya. Bye. Take care, guys.